What's going on? It's your boy Sermon at Sermon's Domain on Twitter. This past week, Young Dolph finally gave us his debut album, King of Memphis. Now, if you've watched any of my other previous Young Dolph reviews, you know one of the things that I was hoping for was the growth. Not just growth as in, the material itself, but growth as in Young Dolph transitioning from being a mixtape artist to just an actual artist. And I think this is one of the reasons why he's making the right decisions. Finally, his debut album is here. I like the fact that there's no guest features. Young Dolph is not relying on anybody to help him. And I think the album itself, it kind of revolves around Get Paid being a successful single. It's popping in LA. Young Dolph has actually been doing really well in LA, radio wise and all of that. And I'm not mad at this. I'm happy that this album is actually kind of coming out at a good time. I mean, Get Paid probably hasn't even hit its peak yet. It's still growing as a single, and I like it. It's the only record that was on a previous project, but that's what happens nowadays. You have a mixtape and you have a hot single, and that single starts to become bigger. You drop an album, and boom, there it is. I think the best part about Young Dolph projects are just seeing what he's gonna come up with. He's such a unique person with his pen, when he writes. So it's always interesting to see like what he's gonna come up with. I think the comparison I had in my mind was that Young Dolph is essentially a less unorthodox version of Young Thug. They're both very random artists. Like, you listen to their songs and the hook might be one thing and then the verses are a whole different other thing. And that's, it works for them. But like I said, I think Thug is more zany, he's more out there, and Dolph is more focused. And I think he's also a little less diverse, which, is a good or bad thing depending on how you see it. He has a lane that he sticks to. He talks about, getting money. He talks about being a hustler, smashing broads, money. Did I mention money? Sipping lean. He does all the things like if you've listened to Young Dolph before, you know what to expect. I think the best part about the album is that I didn't feel like I needed to skip any songs after a while. I listened to this I went 5 hours across Washington and then 5 hours coming back, and I listened to the album several times then, and at no point during the trips did I feel like skipping any of the songs, so I think that's a good sign. I will say that Facts, which starts out the album, isn't really a hard-hitting intro. It's just kind of there. But on the flip side, you have Real Life closing the album, and I think that's a really strong one. You can really hear the passion in Dolph's voice when he talks about, like, he says, I ain't never wanted nothing in my whole life but some fucking money. Like, a lot of times he kind of sticks to, like, one kind of tone in his voice with a lot of his music, but this time he sounds like something really set him off. Like, he has something to prove, and there was just a lot of passion in the hook. And I think overall just the album is really good. I mean, like I said, it's random. You got a record like USA where he talks about red, white, and blue. And he talks about how some of his partners claim, red and some claim blue. And how he has, white women and red women. It's just a random assortment of, things that he compares himself to or compares, or things that he has in his life. And I don't know. I thought it was a really good album. I think the standouts to me were It's Going Down, Real Life, obviously Get Paid. I love just the motivational message behind it. Not trying to look too deep into the record, of course. I also liked USA, like I just talked about. So I think those were the standouts for me. But overall, it's a solid body of work. I think one thing I'm interested to see is what Young Dolph does next. He's been independent. He's bubbling on LA radio, like I mentioned. So what's next for him? Where does he go from here? Is it make one of these records another hit single, or is Get Paid going to continue to become a huge single? Is it going to get remixed? I think that's exciting in itself. I mean, we've seen Dolph work with I think it was Ross and Jeezy for one of his biggest remixes, and I would like to know who's going to be on the Get Paid remix, who has that presence that would really be big. I mean, I think it might be somebody in LA. That would make a lot of sense, but I don't know. We'll find out in the coming months. But for now, enjoy King of Memphis. It's a really strong project. And then like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Also, don't forget to tell me your thoughts on King of Memphis below. And then subscribe to the channel if you're not already. If I already said that, sorry. Follow me on Twitter at Sermons Domain. And as always, thank you for your time. I appreciate you for watching. And until next time, get the money. Peace.